Dear friends, Germany is once again on the front pages of newspapers and at the center of heated discussions. It would seem that a country known for its pedantry and love of order cannot surprise the world with anything but bureaucratic procedures. But no, political shows are reaching a new level here. This time, the name of Alice Weidel, the leader of Alternative for Germany, is booming, and, of course, Elon Musk, a man who manages not only to launch rockets into space but also to cause nervous tics in the German establishment. Friends, get ready to see the real behind the scenes of German politics. I promise it will be interesting. Let's start with the main thing. The conversation between Weidel and Musk, according to all the laws of drama, turned into a loud scandal. It all started when Musk, known for his blunt statements, called the German government a category of very stupid people. He was shocked by Berlin's decision to shut down nuclear power plants at the height of the energy crisis, when the country was already facing the cessation of Russian gas supplies. "This is one of the craziest things I've ever seen," Musk added, as if that wasn't enough to raise a wave of indignation among the German political elite. Weidel, having heard his statement, did not miss the chance to support the billionaire. As always, she spoke with her usual bluntness. "Europe cannot end this conflict. We have neither strategy nor resources. The only hope is for Trump and his government." Such a statement instantly caused a storm in the German media, as if predators, sensing prey, immediately began churning out headlines. AFG is a Kremlin project. AFG is funded by the United States. AFG is a threat to democracy. It seems that democracy in Germany is remembered only when it comes to protecting it from undesirable parties. And that's where the fun begins. Federal authorities have begun checking for possible violations of the law. The fact that Elon Musk supported the AfD was perceived as nothing less than a betrayal of democracy. Trade unions, courts, and universities have joined in. The Verdi Service Workers Union and the Education Workers Union loudly slammed the door, announcing their withdrawal from Twitter, calling Musk's platform a hotbed of misinformation. The Supreme Court of Germany, more than 6 universities and other reputable institutions decided to follow their example. A démarche? Yes. Will Musk notice this? Probably not. And, of course, it was not without the beloved mantra of German politicians. AFG must be banned. More than 100 lawyers have sent an open letter to members of the Bundestag and the government, calling for the party to be banned. But no one remembers how many times this attempt has already been made. Obviously, the more support the AfD receives among citizens, the louder the demands are to remove the party from the political arena. Meanwhile, Musk continues to make statements. He not only criticized the German bureaucracy, calling it dysfunctional, but also pointed to the problem of high taxes that do not provide even basic security for citizens. He also criticized Germany's migration policy, drawing a parallel with the United States. In his opinion, people enter the country even without passports. Musk added, quote, "Voting for the AfD is the only way to restore common sense to Germany." The live broadcast of Elon Musk and Alice Weidel is now one of the most discussed topics in Germany and abroad. This conversation has caused a wide response, and its consequences may be significant. I watched this interview live, collected my impressions, and prepared a detailed analysis. Even before the broadcast, expectations from her were extremely high. Especially the supporters of the Alternative for Germany, AfD, hoped for the momentum that this interview could give the party, as well as for an increase in its popularity among voters. Not only did the AfD expect a lot from this event, the European Union also closely monitored the conversation, appointing an additional 150 officials to analyze the content of the interview. Their goal was to identify potential problematic issues related to the Twitter platform and Musk statements. The interview began at 7 p.m. German time and was broadcast on various platforms, including Twitter, YouTube, and television. On Twitter alone, the audience reached 200,000 people at the same time, and the total number of viewers was probably several million. This indicates a large-scale interest in the event. Important and sensitive topics were discussed during the conversation. Alice Weidel raised questions about the situation of Germany, its economy, energy, immigration, and education. She also expressed the opinion that the current situation in the country is largely caused by the policy of the left-green bloc. Weidel noted that many young people vote for the AfD because they are disappointed with the current realities. Such a bold statement testifies to her confidence and willingness to defend her position, even in the international arena. Elon Musk, in turn, spoke about freedom of speech, stressing that democracy is impossible without it. He also criticized the EU's attempts to regulate the Twitter platform, calling it a threat to freedom of expression. Musk noted that censorship goes against the basic principles of democracy, and this moment caused a strong reaction from the audience. The interview also touched upon issues of philosophy and faith. Musk and Weidel discussed their relationship to God and how religion affects the modern world. This turn gave the conversation a personal and emotional connotation. Among the key points, it is worth noting Weidel's attempt to find out from Musk his opinion about Donald Trump's statement that he would be able to end the conflict within 24 hours. Musk did not give a direct answer to this question, which disappointed some viewers, but added intrigue to the conversation. At the end of the interview, both participants left good impressions. Weidel has shown herself to be confident, prepared, and able to defend her point of view. Musk proved himself to be a charismatic and intelligent conversationalist, ready to discuss not only technical, but also socio-political issues. But let's go back to the reaction of the German authorities. The Bundestag administration has initiated an investigation to find out whether Musk's support for AfD could be linked to illegal donations. Is such hype justified? Doubtful. While Scholz's ruling coalition is barely retaining power, the situation in the country continues to deteriorate. A new billion-dollar aid package designed to support the economy is stuck in the bureaucratic labyrinths of Scholz's office. The disputes within the coalition have reached such a pitch that it has not been possible to keep them within the walls of the Bundestag. The headlines are full of Scholz's name again, and his popularity is plummeting. But that's not the end of the story. The European Union, as always, demonstrates its generosity by allocating another tranche of $3 billion to a well-known country. The money, of course, is taken from frozen Russian assets. Ursula von der Leyen assures that these funds will help the famous country to win. But 3 years later, there is still no victory. German citizens are asking a reasonable question. Why do their taxes continue to go to support other countries, while healthcare, education, and the social system are collapsing inside the country? Against the background of these events, the conversation between Musk and Weidel becomes not just a scandal, but a symbol of division in German society. On the one hand, there are traditional parties clinging to power by all possible means. On the other, the opposition, which is asserting itself more and more loudly. This scandal only highlights the growing discontent among citizens. Alice Weidel and Elon Musk have become figures challenging the political establishment. While some call their actions a threat to democracy, others see them as a chance to restore Germany to its former greatness. Anyway, one thing is for sure. The country is entering a new political era, and it is clearly not going to be calm. Against the background of the scandal surrounding Musk and the latest criticism of the AfD party, it is worth recalling Alice Weidel's statement about the current government's policy towards her party. She says, "It's time for the government to send people on marches against those who think otherwise. History has shown that everything ends badly when dissent is persecuted or banned. It's dangerous to hate people just because they criticize the government." Weidel's words, in fact, reflect a general trend, the fight against dissent, which is becoming more and more obvious in Germany. Contrary to the statement about the protection of democracy, the government and its supporters seem to be trying to overshadow any critical voices. Weidel warns, hatred, denunciations, slander. All this is consistent with the position of the government, and large companies marginalizing the so-called civil society only contribute to this. Misunderstanding or disrespect for dissent becomes the basis for political persecution, and this is where dangerous playing with fire begins. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not freedom of opinion. This is the end of the democracy they want to establish. In 2018, the Federal Constitutional Court very wisely ruled that a possible clash with disturbing opinions, even if they are dangerous in their concept and aimed at fundamentally changing the existing order, is part of a free state. Protection from the poisoning of the spiritual climate is not a reason to interfere with freedom of speech. But a legitimate question arises: who are the enemies of the Constitution? Your coalition, Svetofor, is becoming increasingly rigid in its approaches. Resistance against you is growing in Germany, and your attack on freedom of speech will not be forgiven in the elections. Germany has once again proved that it is never boring in its political circles. While some are breaking spears, discussing who is worthy to become the next chancellor, others are preparing for a new round of chaos on the streets. The editors of Bild, unwilling to stand aside, offered their own view on this question. Why should Germans trust candidates? Let's start with Olaf Scholz, whom people have already called the Chancellor yet. The Social Democrat, whose program includes arming the Bundeswehr, raising salaries, lowering value-added tax, and organizing stable pensions, is planning a tour of Germany, promising verbally to improve everything someday. Next up is Friedrich Merz, who is desperately trying to regain the former glory of Merkel's party. His promises of stability and economic growth sound strange, especially when you remember how his party has delayed Realpolitik for years. Robert Habeck, known for his green views, continues his tradition of kitchen gatherings, while promising to continue to sit at the table even if he becomes chancellor. And finally, Christian Lindner, the leader of the Free Democrats, declares with pathos that they are ready to govern without the Greens and the Social Democrats, despite the fact that their actions are seen only as an attempt to get out of the political swamp. The question remains open. Which of these people can really offer Germany something meaningful? And I have a really important question for you, friends. Who do you think the Germans themselves support? Polls show disappointing results. Of the three possible options for a future coalition, the majority of citizens are not satisfied with any one. The alliance of the Christian Democrats with the Social Democrats is rejected by half of the respondents. The alliance of the Christian Democrats with the Greens causes even more negativity. About 2/3 of the respondents are against. And the triple coalition of Christian Democrats, Social Democrats, and Free Democrats simply makes a quarter of respondents laugh, categorically against such an alliance. As for the alternative for Germany, the Germans were not even asked about it. Apparently, that would be too democratic. Meanwhile, Germany seems to be preparing for serious upheaval. But let's get back to the record-breaking achievements. Germany proudly declares that 46 million people were employed in the labor market last year. Impressive if you don't take into account a few nuances. Firstly, the number of employees has increased due to migrants and part-time workers, who, by the way, continue to receive social benefits. There are about 1 million of them. Secondly, the industry lost 100,000 jobs last year, while the public sector is rapidly expanding. The working week has been reduced to 36 hours, the lowest figure since the 1990s. Finally, migration will soon be unable to cover the labor shortage caused by the massive retirement of the boomer generation. The Minister of Labor Hubertus Heil prefers to look at the glass as half full. There are more people working in Germany than ever before, he proudly declares, keeping silent about the current economic crisis. Apparently, virtuoso optimism is what the German government has in reserve when the arguments run out. Against this background, it becomes obvious that Germany is entering a period of political and social ferment. The elections are close, and the answers to citizens' questions remain as vague as the promises of the candidates. Who will save the country from the crisis? Perhaps only time will give the answer to this question. In the meantime, it remains only to observe this from the sidelines. I want to sum up a little, friends, and share my opinion. This interview was an important event not only for AfD supporters, but for the whole of Germany. It demonstrated that traditional German media are losing control of the information agenda. The AfD, which has long been ignored by major TV channels, has been given the opportunity to present its views to millions of people. As a result, the interview has become a strong PR move for the party and may have an impact on public opinion. To summarize, this interview was not just a discussion of current political issues. It has become a symbol of changing media and political reality. The question of whether such interviews will be conducted in the future remains open. However, it can already be argued that this event had a significant impact on the German political landscape. What do you think about this interview? Did you like it, and did your expectations come true? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your attention. Friends, see you later.